Hello and welcome back to Kelly 60 Plays Xenoblade Chronicles X. Last time, we got mostly exposition on how we got to this planet known as Mira, as well as a small taste of what combat is like, as well as character creation. This time, we're continuing on and leaving the Starfall Basin to continue our trek to the crash landing site of the White Whales City District. Now, I say that, but we're gonna be doing something a little weird, especially for this portion. I'm gonna be going over some of the basics of at least Xenoblade Xenoblade X combat. Similar to, well, Xenoblade 1 is similar, but at least when it comes to the art menu. I started going over this last part, but as I said in the last part, you essentially start... How you attack is basically through basic auto-attacking, while you are able to freely move about as you attack and go through what is your art menu. So, among things are melee, ranged, and depending on your weapon, different weapons, and I believe it's auras and buffs. So, some attacks will also have arts, or basically how you get to control your battle. They're essentially arts, so buffs, ranged, melee, etc. Or basically, say in a normal RPG, your equivalency of a like spell or menu attack based command for that. You already do the fight command. However, arts also have special effects. So like this physical one, if depending on if they're resistant to it, not resistant to oh, please don't tell me. Oh, please. Oh, this level 3 is kicking my butt. But, so, this melee attack can create something called topple, which allows you to, it'll essentially knock an enemy prone, so that you can start doing other attacks. Well, my ranged one says it can inflict more damage once the enemy is toppled, which is a great way of comboing from that previous attack. And something unique to this one is they'll your allies, as you get them, will start asking you eventually to aid them. So whatever they ask for is essentially what they want you to accomplish in your next move for an art. So, and sometimes you just have to figure out how they want you to pull that off in your next turn. So you don't want to go gung-ho with all your art right at the start. It might be more strategic to have some of your weapons in reserve, is the best way I could probably put it. Don't show all your cards right away, but also, if you know you can do a decent amount of damage, or say the enemy is weak enough to, you might be able to get away with doing a full chain. right off the bat, especially if you're in a good enough spot to do so. Am I of the right level for that ground gear? But like any major game afterwards, you have to pay attention to levels and the defense ability for what equipment you have. This game, unlike say Xenoblade 1 or 2, is more MMO compared to other it's more of an MMO in its equipment levels.
Nice work.
But as you can see, as you go around, you essentially can get more items as you go. But every time you level up, you get a unique perk, so to speak, especially for your class levels. Your actual player level means nothing other than if you physically need things such as a larger health pool, especially. But that was weird. It didn't pop up the soul voice thing. But soul voices, if you can pull them off, as I was talking about earlier, which is your allies asking you to do a certain art after they say it, can also help you keep your health up. Now, another key aspect are these small blue crystals lying around. These are special items that are basically collectibles. I can't use that at this time, but you know. It helps you learn more about the world as well as get certain extra items for if you need them for, say, something you can add, which are called skills. Currently, I can only have... Well, the Drifter can apparently have 5 skills. Okay. But you don't get any skills with this class. Drifter is essentially you just started out, learn how to do things first, and then come back here later. I'm not going to waste any more time over here. It stays night over here until you reach the top of this ridge that we're walking up. So, if you're worried about that...
It didn't have to be like this.
Okay, so, because we have to talk about it. Some enemies have these special icons by their name. These mean they are attracted to that thing. So, the eyeball means they can see you in sight. If they even see you, they'll aggro or hate you more, so that they'll start attacking you immediately.
We got him. Let's move.
The lightning bolt is that they're sound oriented. If they hear anything, they're attacking. So it's important to keep those in mind as you traverse the areas in this game, especially since unlike, say, Xenoblade 1 and 2, where it's real easy to avoid the areas where higher level monsters are because the story doesn't make you go to them yet, if you're doing a linear fashion, this game is not of the sort. There are going to be enemies of every level along your path, and they can be kind of dangerous, especially at the beginning of the game. So something I'll be doing, because I'll only be recording the day before this game, the day before I start, or day of me playing the game, for the most part, except for this first session. Because the day before, I'm going to be live streaming some leveling over on my Twitch page to help keep my levels good and explore the area to help with, like, traversing the areas so that I don't have to, you know, do as much I don't know how to put it, as much exploring, but as much exploring as necessary. Because as the game will go on, probably next part, there is something you have to accomplish as you go through the game called probes, which essentially act as waypoints. So I'm gonna use those times to level up, as well as waste some time getting some more armor parts, getting my level high enough for certain armor as well, and also maybe get some items from enemy drops, because enemy drops essentially can make or break the game. Now, this is the only game where it's very rough for especially the beginning hours, as I said, because of the higher difficulty curve. You just found this planet, you just landed on it, well, crash land on it, escaping a alien menace. So you're kind of ill-equipped to deal with things currently, so it's recommended you, along with clearing story, you should also clear things like leveling and getting items so that you're not underprepared for certain events.
Recognize the habitat unit? That's where we're headed.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. What was the name of the actual unit called? It's called the habitat unit.
We can jump if you like.
And we know.
You could handle the fall. But the indigents down there
It's
are
like,
another story.
huh?
Some big,
How
some
do you mean
little,
I could handle the
all
fall?
nasty.
If I fell, I'd break my
Given our options, the high road
kneecaps
would
on
be
the
safer
sand
to go,
below. How does
relatively
that work?
speaking.
But that is the point. You can jump down there. There is a story reason why later.
That said,
Trust me,
whichever way
and
you
I'm
wanna go,
not
I'll
gonna
follow
try
you.
not to spoil it,
You decide.
but it may be spoiled at some point just due to it coming up. But you could go down there, but as she said, a lot of the higher level monsters are down there, so you should best try not to do that. If I remember correctly, this, I believe, is level 3. Nope, it's level 1. So, you can find these, like some of those life pods back in the Starfall Basin. You can find these, like, field... Oops. Accidentally hit that. Field action. Areas where you can do certain field actions to help yourself for items. They can give you money. They can give you certain special items once you can start doing probes. I would suggest doing a little more leveling. I'm just not trusting myself with what I have to do next, which is fight another. Like the end of last part, there is another set of those guaranteed encounters. I just want to have a little more damage at points just for that. But you can literally do anything. Due to the weird physics, you can platform over anything. It's fun, it's enjoyable, and makes certain stealth segments later in the game. Because yes, there are sections where you might want to take a little less reckless action when it comes to dealing with them at that time. Easier, so this will help. Yeah, as I said, watch out for certain things. My god, level 21 all the way over here? Now, certain enemy types won't aggro onto you at all. So like the Lepics here, they won't ever have any of those aggro marks. Now other enemy types can be weird with that. Some will, some won't. You just have to figure that out by looking at their level and seeing if they have any of the symbols next to it. So, like last part, we're gonna be ending it off with a mandatory enemy encounter.
And this was just the habitat unit. The white whale was one hell of a ship.
And excuse it, but this is a rated teen game, so there is going to be a couple of swears dropped here and there. The worst I can say is, I believe, it never goes to F. You'll have most of the other 4-letter and 5-letter swears that are more basic in a sense, but there are going to be some words that are not going to jive with some people. So if you're especially under the age of 13, I would suggest steering clear of this for the most part. Now obviously it is rated for teens, so I would say a 13-year-old could watch this. Especially saying if you're a younger kid, I would suggest not doing it. Now, Brexes tend to always be of the sight and sound, well, especially sight variant. Okay, another thing about combat, because I'm thinking about it, is you can break enemy appendages off. This can keep them from using specific attacks and make a fight with certain enemies easier. Where is it? Okay, I'm locked onto its tail. To induce the lock-on status, you just have to tap down on the right analog stick of the Wii U gamepad. By the way, this is a gamepad game. You cannot type in your name otherwise. So, and you won't see the bottom screen that includes like your quick travel map and stuff for this currently.
Luckily, some species aren't so
I know a couple friends of mine who would love this port, and some other people on the internet who would love for this game to be ported to the Switch. I myself is kind of one of them, but so there may be a change to this eventually. However, that is yet to be in the cards. So at this point, this is only a Wii U game that requires you to use the gamepad. But we are finished with the second major battle of the prologue. Yes, 2 parts, and we're still only in the prologue of the game. But next time, we're going to probably, hopefully, finish it up to where we're doing our first major second major chapter quest for at least starting the second major chapter quest for the live stream so that we can level without any real issues. But I cannot guarantee that, obviously. But next part, we definitely have a lot more cutscenes due to you being the first time in the habitat unit, especially since you don't remember anything. So, I would like to thank you all for watching. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and take care.